Potatoes gone potato, haters gonna hate. Let them do their thing.
Only be here for you. Only be here.
Whew, I'm hot. I'm literally boiling. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Nuttyfoodiefitness here. Today, I thought I would sit down with you guys and do a Q&A on confidence. A couple of weeks ago, I uploaded a YouTube video on my morning routine, and I know at the end I had a little chat on like confidence, and a lot of you sent me DMs asking if I could talk a little more on confidence, because I kind of just briefly skimmed over the subject, and I feel like there's a lot for me to talk about on this subject. So I asked you guys over on Instagram to send in your questions around the topic of confidence. Thank you so much to all of you that have sent in questions, because there is a lot. I've screenshotted all your questions, and then I've got my laptop here and tried to kind of bunch them up, because there's questions on like body confidence, confidence in the gym, career confidence, dating confidence, how to build confidence. There's a lot of questions, so I just want to give you a warning in advance. This is going to be a pretty long video, so I would suggest you get some snacks and get a cup of tea or something. I would also really appreciate if you gave the video a thumbs up. Helps me out, and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, I'm going to try my best to keep the answers like concise, but you know I love to chat, so I will timestamp all the questions so that it's just easier for you to find them. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I am Nuttyfoodiefitness on Instagram, so next time I do a Q&A or you know one of these things, you can also get involved if you like. Okay, let's just get into the video. There's so many questions. The first question is, have you always been so confident with yourself, or have you had times where you were less? So the main reason I wanted to actually film this video is because I get a lot of DMs and messages saying that they really look up to me because of the way, you know, I carry myself and my confidence, which is crazy to me, because when I was younger at school, I was the kind of person that was like really chatty and loud when I was around friends, but in class, I was the kind of person that like when a teacher would say, who wants to volunteer to show some workings out on the whiteboard? I was the person that would try my absolute hardest to avoid eye contact with the teacher because I didn't want to be chosen. I was definitely shyer, a lot more introverted around people that I didn't know. And I brought this up in another video where I spoke about insecurities, and I basically talked about the fact that for me, I've never wanted to look a certain way or compared myself, even when I was younger in school. The only thing that I ever remember comparing myself was with other people that were like more confident, like able to just speak up, and I always felt like I wanted to be more like them. I remember always thinking like, if only I was a little bit more confident. Like, I remember my best friend, who is still, shout out to you Jaina if you're watching this, I always used to look up to my best friend because she was so confident. She was never afraid of getting things wrong or yeah, asking questions, and I always remember thinking I really want to be more like her. Not in a jealous way, it was like I always looked up to her and I admired her confidence. And I feel that like my confidence kind of took a bit of a turning point when, this is going to sound so ridiculous, but at school there was auditions for the school play, and it was Snow White, and every single female wanted to be Snow White. They wanted to be the lead, and I remember thinking that would be so cool, but I'm just gonna try, like I'm just gonna try. We would all have to basically audition in front of everyone, and I remember there being this huge crowd of girls and me thinking, how on earth am I gonna get the part? I was like towards the end of the line. I auditioned and I actually got the part, and I just remember that being like a turning point. I thought, I auditioned and I got it. Like, I feel like from then started just going more for things. But no, to answer the question, I've not always been this confident. Such a long-winded answer for that. But yeah, I just want to add that when I was in school, I always thought you're either introverted or extroverted and there's nothing you can really do about that. But then obviously I soon learned that that's not true. You can be, you know, a little quieter or you can be a little louder, but that's not to say that you can't also be a confident introvert. I feel like in school, I was kind of made to believe, I think, that like being shy and introverted was a bad thing, which I don't think is true. I think that there's qualities in both and it's not about trying to become something else. I think it's just more that you can learn to come out of your shell a little bit more. Such a long-winded answer, sorry. Do you think confidence comes easy to you because you have a platform and get lots of likes? That's actually a good question, because I've definitely read before people say, oh, it's easy for you to say to be like positive and confident because, you know, you're always just getting bombarded with lovely messages. And although it's lovely and I like really appreciate the messages and the support that I get, I feel that confidence is not something that you can build from external validation. Like for instance, if I felt like I did a really shitty job at something, I don't know, let's just make it gym related. Let's just say I went to like a CrossFit event and I was the person that in the end let the team down because I was, I don't know, really shitty at doing rows. Random example. And everyone's like, no, Steph, like you did an amazing job, like you smashed it. It would make no odds to me what anybody else would say, because I know like deep down I could have done better. So I feel like external validation can never make up for how you feel inside about yourself. I feel like confidence in general comes from self-esteem, and that's your worth, what you think about yourself. So yeah, I don't believe that social media and having platforms can really make you feel more confident, because yeah, I just see confidence as self-esteem, how deserving you feel of it. Like I've got an example, like sometimes you could feel really bad about yourself, bad body image day, and then I'll often see people's responses like, you are amazing, you are beautiful, and I'm not saying you're not, but that sometimes does make me slightly cringe, because that's just covering up like how you're actually feeling, and I don't think that always does make a person feel better. If someone's feeling shit, I will never then go back to them and say, do you know what, you're an amazing person, cheer up. That's not going to make them feel better. You need to get like, where is this shitness coming from? Is it because you're not sleeping? Is it because you're doubting? It's deeper. It's deeper than just throwing a compliment at someone. So in short, no, I do not believe that my confidence comes easier because I have this platform. Because if I were to take things on board about what people say about me, then I could fully flip it and then say I'm absolutely worthless, I'm attention seeking, I'm this, I'm that, like the list goes on, okay? Haters gonna hate. So no. What are your top tips to build confidence daily? My number one top tip: when you are scared of doing something, just go and do it. You know, it's funny me saying this. I actually have some massive announcements coming which I can't yet share with you, but I will be sharing with you very soon. Okay, let's just put it this way. In the past couple of months, I have done several things that have scared the shit out of me, and I've done it anyway. And I know it's easier said than done, but the reason that I'm becoming pretty comfortable with feeling really uncomfortable is by really not thinking too much about it. If you think a lot about a certain thing, you can overthink and then talk yourself out of doing that thing. But if you just go for it, then it's too late. You've said you're gonna do this and you've like put your name down for it. So that has been the thing that has really helped build my confidence, just by literally doing things completely out of my comfort zone. Last month I was asked to do a talk on, yeah, it was about body confidence, and I said yes without like batting an eyelid. And I just think that's the way that I thrive, just by going for things. At the end of the day, what is the worst thing that can happen? Like I would rather feel nervous and scared than regretting not having taken that opportunity. I'd also say that it's not a bad thing to feel nervous. I feel like it just shows that you care, brace the nerves, channel that like nervous energy and just give it everything, whatever that thing is. Use the adrenaline. Another tip on building confidence would be to do something that makes you feel good. So for instance, if you are feeling like really crappy, instead of like wallowing and listening to music that's going to make you feel even worse and more upset, if I'm feeling really stressed out, then I would go to the gym, because I know that training makes me feel better mentally. I also listen to podcasts. I literally love everything from Tom Bilyeu. He's got this podcast called Impact Theory, where he basically interviews like entrepreneurs, all sorts of people. I find it just really inspiring. And so if I ever feel like I'm in a bit of a slump, or in a bit of a doubting myself, like my ability to do a certain thing, I'll listen to one of his podcasts, and it just makes me think about things in a different way. It's uplifting, and there's a lot of things that I learn from him and the people that he interviews. Knowledge is power, people. Would definitely say like read, listen to a podcast, go for a walk, disconnect a bit, breathe, take some deep breaths. You know, sometimes you might feel a little bit overwhelmed. Another tip for building confidence is to be self-aware. When you feel a bit negative, you're feeling a bit meh about everything, try and figure out where that came from. Was it like someone that made you feel that way? Was it from looking at something? I don't know. Was it from going on the explore page and spending 3 hours comparing your body to somebody else's physique? Try and find what is making you feel shitty and remove that. If it's not adding, don't hang around with people that are always criticizing you, or unfollow accounts that aren't adding to your life. Remove the things that make you feel low. You don't need that in your life. I feel like that leads on to another question, which was, how do you remain confident when everything is going against you and you start doubting yourself? Again, it goes back to being self-aware, to what triggered that thing. It's about stopping yourself when you feel that you're spending too much time in your head. You know those times where something may have gone wrong in your day, and then you think about something else, and then you start doubting yourself, and then like overthinking things. Everything just escalates. Suddenly this whole cloud of like negativity and just like bleh about everything. You need to learn to like identify when you are thinking about things a bit irrationally. Like, it's so easy to then like spiral down into like self-doubt and just feeling really negative about yourself. So try and be more self-aware, and when you find yourself thinking all these negative things, like try and stop yourself and ask, are you being rational? Where is all this coming from? Because half the time you're just talking utter crap to yourself. So yeah, remove all those negative triggers. Even if it's, for instance, like, this might sound silly, but if you know that when you eat, food obviously has to go somewhere, so your shorts aren't gonna fit the same way that they did before you went out for dinner. I personally, when I'm about to go eat a buffet or a massive meal, I just undo my jeans before I even start eating. Like, because if you're gonna feel shit about the fact that you're having to undo your jeans because you're like now looking, I don't know, 4.5 months pregnant, just undo it before, and then you swerve that. Or wear a dress, you know, just remove things if you know that those are things that make you feel bad. Like, personally, I don't care. Like, you know, I'm happy in showing my bloated stomach and my food babies. For me, that doesn't bother me, but I know for a lot of people that definitely gets them down. How to trust yourself to go with the flow and not always have a set structure in life. I feel like that is me all over. I literally just go with the flow and see where things go. The more you prepare for things, the more chance you have for it to not go the way that you had initially planned. And I know that people always say preparation is key, but at the same time, I sometimes feel having too much structure, you're just building yourself up for things to not go that way. As long as you're doing things that like make you happy, you're doing them for yourself, and you're giving them your absolute best shot, then like what more can you do? You're setting yourself up for success there. You can go through things as many times as you want, but we all know that that's not the way like life works, and things happen, and that's life. So I think that sometimes we shouldn't put so much importance on structure. And I would also just say that even though you might think everyone's got their life all figured out and like a structure and a plan and a routine, like no one does. Well, if I'm talking personally about myself, I go with the flow. Do you think it's possible to appear confident to others but honestly not feel it? That's actually a very interesting question. I definitely do think it's a case of like fake it until you make it. So obviously I know I said that at school I was shyer, but yeah, as I've grown up, I've kind of started to do this thing where, like for instance, in class, I would always volunteer to go first, like doing presentations. People always thought, oh my God, like you are so brave, like it's the worst thing to go first. When really for me it was the best thing to go first, because then I wouldn't have to sit and have to listen to everyone else's presentation and then compare what I'm about to present to what they're presenting. So I would always just be like, no, I'm first. And people would always be like, how are you so confident like putting yourself first? And I just thought it was funny because they would say, oh my God, you didn't look nervous whatsoever. Really, I was shitting myself, but it just made me feel a lot better to just go first. It was funny, they could never pick up on like my nerves. You do sometimes have to just put on a front, but it's from doing that you then start to become that person. I'm not trying to say you're not being real, but kind of like actors, sometimes they say like they're the shyest person, but when they're like playing a character, then they're able to do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that the more you do it, the more it reinforces that you can actually do that thing and there's no need for you to worry about it. So yeah, I would definitely encourage that. Tips on how to build body confidence. I do actually have a video on body confidence, which I will link in the description box. But yeah, look, I'm just gonna approach this in the broadest sense. Every single person has insecurities, you know, things about them which they don't necessarily love. Stretch marks, scab, cellulite, hate their body, bloated, bits that sag, bits that wobble. It's normal and everybody has these things, okay? I feel like everybody thinks that their issue is really bad, but yet they see other people have exactly the same things as them and they don't see that there's anything wrong with it. Everyone has them. It's completely normal. So yeah, I would just say that we are who we are. We can't really change that many things about ourselves unless we want to invest in a lot of surgery and modifying everything about us to embrace the way that we were made, all completely uniquely. Not compare ourselves to everybody else, especially people on the internet, and realize that there is a lot more to us than the way that we look. There's so many other things that we can focus our energies on, like our profession, different talents, to not place so much importance on the way that we look, because it's really not that deep. There's so many more levels to us than our aesthetics. Like at the end of the day, we're onions. We've got a lot of layers to us. It's not the outer that matters, it's all the others inside. The comparison game most women have, how to stop. In fact, I feel like the comparison game everyone has, even males, see them at the gym and they're huge. They're walking around like this with their arms, and yet they still think they're like the smallest person in the gym. It's one of those things where it's like when people say, how do you stop comparing yourself? You just stop comparing yourself. You stop looking around at other people and you focus your energy on yourself and not where other people are and how other people are doing. And I just feel like if you invest all that time and energy on working on yourself, you'll make so much more progress than if your attention is divided on how other people are looking. How do you start as a beginner with fitness? I find the gym so intimidating and scary. Help. I also got some more questions which were like very much related. Confidence around stepping in the gym for the first time. For me, I personally just walked straight into a gym. I was never that person that went in and out of fitness. Like I've literally just been no exercise and then suddenly went to the gym, made this account. So I went from like 0 to 100 in like a couple of months. So I personally know how it feels to go into the gym and be completely clueless. So yeah, that was me a couple of years ago. I walked straight in and I remember just asking the first personal trainer that I saw there to like tell me what the equipment was and like what it did. I tried to take as much in, but obviously I'm not gonna, from like 5-minute conversation, I'm not gonna know exactly what I'm doing. And I always just went into the gym with the mentality of I'm new here and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not going to try and pretend that I know what I'm doing. Very much happy to just ask people. Obviously I wouldn't advise asking someone that's like midway through a set, like in the zone, headphones on, and being like, hey, can you help me move the squat rack? Like, obviously don't do that, but I do feel like people are a lot more open to helping than you think, and I don't think anyone's gonna judge you for you asking for a little bit of help. Everyone has to start somewhere, so everyone else has also been in that situation where they've walked into a gym and just been like, well, what the heck am I doing here? And like, you know, there's so many videos and stuff you can watch on YouTube, apps. There is so much out there, which is why I personally, when people say like, show us your workout, think, what is the point of me trying to educate you when I'm not a personal trainer? I find the gym so intimidating and scary. So when I'm at the gym, I'm pretty much the only female surrounded by men. I literally only ever see females in the cardio section. So I'm literally always with males, and I feel like a lot of beginners assume that they're going to walk in and everyone's just going to be staring at them. That's really not the case. Like, everyone is at the gym because they, well, hopefully, you know, they have their own goals and they're there for a reason. They're not there to judge you. Don't not go into the weight section because you're afraid of what other people will think, because they're not worried about what you're doing. They're concerned about themselves, or anyway, they should be. And so if you do find that they're looking at you, then you probably just look really good. I've got two ways to deal with somebody staring at me. I either A, get on with it and let them watch, or B, just literally look them straight up until they feel really uncomfortable and have to look away. That's also another solution I found. There's quite a few questions on how to progress forward when you feel discouraged because you're making no progress. I do again have another video where I cover a lot on training and motivation, which I'm going to link in the description box. How do you respond to someone who challenges your motives and goals? I would literally just say, look, whose life are you living? Don't do things just to please other people. I would just completely disregard their opinion and I would continue doing what I'm doing. I also feel like the more energy you give to like negative energy, the more you're going to reinforce that. So I'd literally just put all that negativity in a balloon, open the window and literally just let it fly into the distance until it gets popped by a bird. You just carry on doing your thing. In an ideal world, it would be great if everyone would support each other, be happy for one another. But as we all know, I've personally just never understood jealousy. Never understood it. But obviously it exists. Just be aware that when people catch on to you making progress and you doing, you know, doing good things, people don't like to see that. Some people are definitely a lot happier when they see that you are staying in the same place like them. But realize you don't need to slow down just so other people can try and catch up to you. You do you. Let the haters do their hating. Potatoes gone potato, haters gonna hate. Let them do their thing. Tips on how to gain confidence to start a YouTube channel. I actually remember when I was recording my first ever video, it was a Q&A and I literally recorded it like 20 times. That was me recording the intro about 20 times. It was awful and I just remember thinking, how do people do this? I remember editing my third YouTube video and it was a video that I had planned to upload like a whole week before, but every single day I kept on making alterations and I kept on trying to edit it to make it look better. And I remember Joe Delaney uploaded a YouTube video and I messaged him and I said, how the heck do you do it? Like, you know, you muffle your words, you don't seem to care. And his advice was literally like, don't overthink things, just upload it. It was kind of already done, but yeah, I still felt like I could make it better. I definitely think that YouTube is one of those things where you can't start off trying to be like a perfectionist. Because I'm used to seeing like amazing quality, like Christian Guzman and Nabil's editing literally smashes anybody else's out the park. It's insane. So obviously when I'm there watching videos from other content creators which are like so impressive, like they're actual movies, obviously the quality of my videos are not going to be on the same standard. I feel like YouTube is definitely one of those things where it's more about quantity to begin with rather than quality. If you try to get things perfect right from the beginning, and you will never upload that first video, just get a camera. You do not need ring lights and fancy tripods. My camera is literally balancing on my leggings which I've attached to the window. You know, I've tied it up, I would show you, but then it took me a while to set this up. Don't overthink things, literally just get the camera and start talking. As awkward as you may feel doing it, it will definitely get easier, and soon you'll feel like you're literally just talking to a person, although really you're talking to yourself like I am right now, and it's kind of weird, but we love YouTube. It's a great platform to just express yourself. My advice is just go for it, and you'll soon realize you definitely just become more and more natural in front of the camera. Do you think rough experiences are a must to build confidence? That's actually a really interesting question. I don't believe that they are a must, but I definitely do think that hardships, challenges, they definitely build character. It's a reason why a lot of successful people, a lot of the time you'll always hear that their like backstory, their childhood was never great, and it's always because I feel like they've gone through so many challenging things and they've been able to get past that, and as a result of being able to get past a time where they really struggled, then you kind of realize that if you're able to get through that thing, then you can get through another challenge, and that just reinforces your belief system and in turn just makes you feel more confident. So yeah, I do think it helps, but I wouldn't say it's a must. Like, I don't feel like you have to have the worst childhood or have to have gone through like a traumatic experience to then become this confident person. How do you stay confident if you are inexperienced at work, made mistakes and felt lost? I think that you just have to realize that you're not expected to know everything. Like, when I first went into my job, for those of you that don't know, I feel like I say it all the time, but then I'm asked all the time what I do. I am a full-time designer, and before I worked for the company that I work at now, which I've nearly been with for 3 years, I was freelancing as like an illustrator, painter, animator. I did just a lot of creative things, and so when I went into my first job, I didn't have any previous experience of working like with a team because I was working for myself, and that wasn't like a hindrance. As long as you know that you can learn from mistakes, then no one can really judge you. You're not always going to be the most experienced person. There's going to be people that know things a lot better than you and do things a lot better than you do, but that it's not a bad thing to make a mistake. You can learn and you can grow from your mistakes. How do you deal with criticism at work? Obviously I don't really know the situation, but try and take the comments on board, see if there is like a reason for them saying something about you, but at the same time don't let people walk all over you. Like, let's be honest, it is like a dog eat dog world. For instance, with promotions, people do always want to get ahead of other people, and like sometimes that does mean that they will try and knock someone in order to then get above somebody else, which obviously isn't nice, but like that is the truth and that is like the real world. Just try and be assertive. I hate that it is this way, but in jobs there is always like this hierarchy thing, and like people are above other people and they have more say. But I would always say to be respectful, talk to people the way that you would want others to talk to you, and if you feel that someone is being disrespectful or talking down at you unnecessarily, then you should speak up and stand up for yourself, or maybe talk to like a manager or another colleague about it. Are you confident around people you fancy? Do you know what? I am someone that's very much always going to be myself, and if I like somebody I will let them know, because you know, if they don't know, then that is an opportunity potentially wasted. And if you feel a certain way about someone, I feel like you should always just say it. What is the worst that can happen? They reject you, then life goes on. I would never want to be like thinking what could have been. I'd rather just take a chance, and I'm absolutely completely fine with getting rejected. It really doesn't bother me. I feel like a lot of people are very fearful because they're like, oh, what if he rejects me? But if you don't try, then that's already an automatic rejection because you've not gone for it in the first place. So yeah, around people I fancy, I am just myself, because at the end of the day the person is gonna like you for you. So don't like put up a front or try and act like somebody you're not, because then if you do end up spending time with them, soon your true personality will come out, and then just be awkward if he's like, but I thought you were like the other person. Advice on making friends with new people. Again, just be yourself, approach people, don't hold back. I feel like a lot of people, stories in your head of how you think that person's gonna be, and like, you know, a lot of people just happen to have like a resting bitch face and they don't look very approachable, but then when you actually talk to them, you're like, oh my god, they're like the nicest, most down-to-earth person ever, and we have so much in common, and oh my god, we're literally best friends. Just be yourself, and you know, if it's a vibe, it's a vibe. Handling creeps on the street. I don't want guys' attention. I feel you. If you don't want that attention from that person, then don't give them the extra attention. I know it's irritating. Like, you're walking down the street, you're minding your own business, and people are like shouting things from the car, beeping, whistling, and it's annoying. Like, I've said it before in my Instagram stories, like, I'm never gonna be disrespectful to a male that like says to me on the street like, hey beautiful, or how are you doing pretty, you know, whatever. Like, I will always respond, and I will be respectful, and I'll say thank you very much, and I will never avoid someone if they're speaking to me in a respectful way. But it completely flips around if somebody is making like weird noises, you know, those creepy noises that men make as they're like driving past you, or they slow down and you're like walking and literally driving the car right next to you, and you're just thinking like, drive off mate, I do not want your attention. So yeah, I know that they're definitely irritating situations and there's not that much you can really do about it, but if someone is not being respectful, then I will straight up just say, if you have something to say, say it. Like, don't make a weird like growling noise at me or like kissing noises at me. Like, I am a person. But yeah, I do think that especially when guys are in groups, they're a lot more confident, and if they see you giving them a bit of attention, then that just spurs them on. So just walk past. My camera just died. I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up, comment any other questions. Really hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm talking so fast because I know that my camera's about to die again, but stay nutty, my friends.